let you know when we're live. And I believe we're live on YouTube. Hello and welcome to this week's Creature Convention Conference. What are we calling this thing? I don't know if anyone is actually here, but hopefully...
I'm here. Yeah.
Thanks. We currently have 0 concurrent viewers, which is not a great sign.
What?
Apparently no one cares about our bullshit.
I care.
Yeah, okay, thanks.
Oh, that's nice.
Thanks for patronizing me. Okay, well, hold on, I'm gonna see if this is... What's that?
You didn't put anything up in the stories?
I did!
You did?
I tagged you.
He did.
Simon?
Yeah, busy days.
Did you not see me tag you?
Nope.
Okay. Hold on a sec. Oh, we're live. Okay. I thought that maybe YouTube was busted.
Hi,
but
Simon.
apparently... Okay. Oh, God.
Hello.
Oh, Jeremiah Price is here. Jeremiah, thanks for joining us and not making us feel like we're alone. All right,
Awesome.
Can you guys check the audio? I gotta go for a pee. You, I think we have a special guest, don't we? Special guest, you want to take over?
Who's that?
Simon, your turn.
What?
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 I wasn't paying attention, so just in case someone wonders, my wife is here too.
Can you not
and
do
she's
that?
listening as well.
That is so awesome. Great.
Oh Jesus! It is the 5th member of the Creature
Okay.
Conference. Okay, this is bad because
Yes.
this is really bad because we Mr. Pink is on the toilet and the audio is not working again. Is that right?
I have no idea.
Yeah, let's do some echo over this.
Yeah, it's a bit of echo.
Yeah, that was me.
It wasn't me.
Wasn't there a song called that?
What? You
No,
do remember episode
Yeah.
4? When Darth Vader in the TIE Fighter at the Battle of the Death Star just says, "What? What?"
Did that scene exist?
Yes,
don't
it
re-
is.
I don't recall.
Yeah, exactly. It's not the kind of scene that sticks in memory. But he said, "What?" Like this. Like really stupid and surprised and not very Sith Lordish at all.
Better than what the fuck?
What? And
What?
in addition to that, in episode 4 they forgot to put some mesh onto his lenses. So in some cases in the same scene you can see his eyes in the mask, which looks really stupid. But normally if you don't watch out for this, you don't notice.
I was about to say I have never noticed his eyes anywhere.
Ignorance is bliss.
Yeah, probably because I've not watched it for the 10,000th time.
Yeah,
Like,
same here. Same here.
I'm just. Yeah.
I was told about this, so of course then you see it.
Okay. That sounds about right. Old rule of the internet: things that have been seen cannot be unseen, right?
Yes, exactly. For someone out there not understanding what we're talking about right now, I was in a Darth Vader costume last weekend on a convention, and I had a voice changer, which is all kinds of fun, because people don't expect you to speak in a Darth Vaderish voice when they approach you. Usual scene is always, "Can I take a photo?" And you say, "Why?" in a Darth Vader voice, and they just lose it at this point because they expect you to behave like someone in a costume and not like Darth Vader, which is really so much fun. I can't even begin to tell you.
Oh, I can imagine that. That's great fun.
It is. You have all the excuses of fucking around with people and just behaving like an asshole, which you don't normally in everyday life, and you can.
But aren't you sweating under this costume like mad?
Like hell. I mean,
Okay.
it's padded leather and like another 5-6 kilo of three layers of cape around you is sweating. It's really bad. It's really bad.
Oh Jesus.
You must
I
have
would
enjoyed
only
it.
go on conventions in the wintertime. So, guys, I'm the winter Vader. I'm.
But winter is cold.
Yeah.
Okay, enough fun with this for today. It's been a pleasure. And off with the voice changer. Off you go.
I still feel pretty lonely. It actually feels like we need to produce some content. Because
guess
usually
so.
there's so many people in the chat that's like, oh yeah.
Sorry,
yeah,
gents.
We are here.
I think everyone's going like, oh, they always say they start at 1/4 past, but they never really start until 1/2 past. So they turn up a bit late.
So
Like,
we
oh,
stalled.
wait.
We stalled for time, Nick.
Hello.
There
How
you
did
go.
the stalling go?
Awesome.
Yeah. No
Best
one can.
time of my life. Best time of my life, actually.
Fantastic. Glad to hear it. Yeah, like the fact that no one is here is oddly appropriate for me because I feel like I've been working on the moon today. Like everyone in my office is on vacation,
Whoa.
Oh,
and they were like, "Oh yeah, but like Nick, you're going to be here on Friday, right? Like you'll definitely be here. Like we need someone to be sure that someone's here just in case anything happens." And I'm like, "I don't think anything's going to happen, but like I'm not here. Like I'm working from home, but I'm like, "Yep, I'll be online." They're like, "Great. So happy to hear it." And then like nothing happened today. Like I felt like I was working on the moon. So now no one's here. So this is just continuation of the nothing day.
But we're here for you. We're here.
Well, I'm
yes,
very
we
happy
are
that
here.
Quick Kunstunicht in what the heck? I feel like I should know who that is.
But that's me.
That's
I'm
you?
just logged in. Yeah, I'm logged in from my.
You're trying to make it
What?
feel like there's more people in the chat. Well, I'm glad that Jeremiah Price is that you, Flynn? Are you
No, that's not me.
are you fluffing?
Oh, I can fluff if we need to fluff.
We do not need to fluff, but thank you. So, did I miss it, Marco? Did you tell us all about your epic conference?
Yes, I did. I did actually. I just gave a very short summary how awesome it was to just wear a Darth Vader costume in summer with padded leather and a couple of layers of coats.
Oh, sweet Jesus! I didn't think about that.
Yes, it was warm, but we had a couple of thousand visitors and 100 costumed Imperial other guys serving me as Lord Vader, and I only had to bow to the Emperor personally.
Good. Was the Emperor
But
played
what-
by an 8-year-old child?
No, he was. But you know what happens? You do know furries, do you?
I know Furbies. Yes, I'm not so old that I don't know Furbies.
Furries, not Furbies.
Oh shit, I know them too.
furry.
Yes.
You know the dubious, well, how do I say it? You know
A
what's-
word could be fetishist.
Yes, exactly. Thing was, there was a single furry on the convention, and I was Darth Vader. I was big, bad, black, and there was the silly furry, and I thought, whoa, look at this lonely furry over there. I might approach him in a threatening manner and then just hug him. And that's it.
I love it.
Until the stupid furry just started pumping at my hip.
He's like, careful, you bit off more than you could chew there, Darth.
He just raped Darth Vader. Like this.
Hey, listen. Rape would imply it's not consensual. Like, you did go over there looking for the hug. Were you not
Well,
consenting
yeah.
to some love returned?
It was first date. I was ready to buy some cinema tickets and some bottle
Right.
of wine or something.
Okay, so he went a little too far.
Absolutely. And I was like, this didn't happen, right? Look at my troops. Nobody's responding. Like, Darth Vader, surrounded by dozens of Imperial troops, is getting pumped by a stupid piece of hair.
Well, literally, you walked right into that one. So,
Absolutely. And you know what?
Oh.
48 hours later, I just cornered the same furry and had the creature captured by my Imperial troops, because of course, why wouldn't I? I'm Darth Vader.
I'm
Nice.
fucking Darth Vader.
Yes.
So that was the revenge of the Sith.
Point Hydra. Amazing.
Absolutely. And then I didn't think of, shit, what to do now. And I was improvising and thinking, oh, what the hell? I'm just trying to pretend, stupid furry, you sullied my suit. How could you? I command you to go on your knees, swear allegiance to the Emperor, and work for the Empire for the rest of your life. Find the rebels and go on, like this. And I was like, haha, okay, this was kind of nifty. Whole story was good then.
Good.
And then we took off our masks, and the furry lady was...
Someone you knew?
No, absolutely not. But she was started to hitting on me. Like, I like the kind of dark guys and evil. I was like, okay, this is getting too close for comfort now. And
She was there to pick you up.
Absolutely. And I was like, okay, I'm out. It was fun to this point, and now I'm okay. Bye-bye. Darth Vader is off to shuttle. See you.
Too hot for Darth.
What a weird experience, I'll tell you. The only furry at the whole convention.
Cool. That seems pretty fun.
It was.
Nice. Well, I'm
How
glad
about-
you
how
had a good time, and I'm glad you helped someone else have a very good time.
Yes, probably. I don't know, I guess.
I have to admit that I feared that this whole story would take another twist when you said that you made the thing kneel.
You said get on its knees, and I was like, I don't know, some furries might enjoy that.
And you know what's even funnier? There's even a photo someone took from behind the furry, which looks just like what you have in your head right now. It's like, no! Oh, shit!
Oh, you don't know what I have in my head.
I have an idea.
Okay.
Okay. Oh Jesus.
How about you guys?
Yeah. What about us? I will start. We had I have done very little on anything productive hobby wise, because we had the baptisement of our younger son.
Baptism.
Baptism, yes.
Yes.
This weekend, and we have sort of, we had to rearrange like the whole garden anew, and it felt like one of those games, those chain reaction things. Like when you start one thing, it tips off another thing, and that gets rolling, and then the next gets rolling, and the next, and it felt basically like that. That everything I moved created something else that needed to be moved, and I feel like I've moved lots of stuff those last 2 weeks. Earth, material, furniture, people, all kinds of things, and that was an amazing day. We had an amazing party, and because COVID, we kept it all outside, and but the weather forecast for that day was pretty bad, and so we tried to prepare everything for bad weather, and it was, well, when I say bad, there were rainstorms and thunderstorms forecast, and we were expecting like the worst, and we got lucky, like the most amazing part of lucky, because there not a single drop of, there was a very brief, very thin burst of rain, but because we had all those tents and all those covers, that wasn't a problem. And it wasn't until late in the evening when the real thunderstorm and rain and everything came in, and until that very moment we were dry and safe, and that was amazing.
Awesome.
Yeah. So
Okay.
we had an amazing time, and yeah, I did nothing hobby-wise. I feel like I have missed out so much on Instagram because you know, moving stuff.
Well,
You did some kind of hobby stuff last week in that you painted a beautiful painting for your son for his baptism.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
You're right, yeah.
Can you guys hear me okay? I'm not too quiet.
No.
Oh, perfect. The
Fine.
microphone is not in my face, so this is actually very comfortable for me. Sorry, what was that? Was that Flynn?
Wasn't me. Well, I have to admit I did a little bit of hobby stuff, nonetheless. But that's the other hobby stuff I'm doing was toy photography, but very brief, very little.
So, question on...
Yes.
I always get it wrong if it's Skeletordark or Skeletordak or whatever. On your Skeletordak thing,
Yeah.
do you... Are you done that story with Man-at-Arms?
Until that moment, yes.
Until that moment, what do you mean?
Yeah, well, until I have an idea for the next storyline.
Like,
and-
for now, it's done?
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Why's that?
I was just wondering. I wasn't sure.
Okay, yeah.
If it was still... There was more coming.
how much did you enjoy the new show, Sam?
I love it. I absolutely love it to death.
Good.
There was a brief moment in, I think, episode 5, when I'm not spoiling too much, I guess, when I say that Preternia, you know, shows up, appears, and the role it played, I was a little bit confused.
Preternia?
Preternia, yes.
I haven't gotten there yet. I guess I shouldn't ask questions.
It's like the enemy of Conan.
What?
No, Preternia is a setting.
Oh, okay.
Setting.
It was Preternia was a game set, a play set that was like, I don't know, it was massively expensive and basically consisted of 3 towers, one in the middle, and
Oh, I want to look this up.
which had sort of a lion at the bottom, and then there was one tower that was standing for Castle Grayskull, and one was for Snake Mountain, and then there was this mechanical rail transportation thing going from one tower to the others.
Okay.
So that was like the biggest playset they ever produced for the toy line, and in the comics they used to you know, explain in the very early comics. They explained that He-Man and his friends would travel back in time to the very beginning of everything, so into prehistoric times. So that's why it's called Preternia.
Is that what it was actually called? Because I'm having trouble finding pictures.
Preternia, and you'll be able to find it.
That's what I did.
I put in Preternia playset and then just went to images and you just find loads.
Preternia?
Yeah.
I literally cannot find it. I find a guy with a brown cloak on.
Yeah, go down a bit further because
Yeah.
I see like a art of it because I feel like someone I know might have had this thing.
yeah, there's one who's selling on eBay for over £3,000. I think it's like nearly 6,000 Aussie dollars.
Holy crap!
Yeah. Because they're just so few produced. The guy in the brown cloak, that's actually He-Man in disguise, because he apparently has moved back in time. He shall not meet his
Descendants.
yeah,
Or, ancestors.
ancestors. Yes, ancestors. That's it. And therefore he disguises himself weirdly with this Batman mask. Yeah, they used this this whole setup as an excuse to bring up all new weird stuff like.
Okay, so I'm finding it
robot
as
dinosaurs.
Three Towers playset.
Yes.
You know
So there's
what?
a blue, a green, and a red.
I swear someone I knew had the Lion Tower. It looks so familiar. Wow, it's breaking my phone. I don't think I'm supposed to find this. Sorry. Go on.
Yeah. So yeah, basically the in the comic books, this whole thing served as sort of a prehistoric times setting. That's because there were dinosaurs there, which were half robots,
Yeah.
and all the weirdest things. They had like the most weird toys to be produced. Some of them never got produced. Like
Yeah.
they wanted to have one of these long-necked, massive dinosaurs. It would have been like the size of a table. And
Whoa.
I think that was pretty close to the end of the whole He-Man thing. Yeah, and so in the vintage storyline, it served as a place prehistoric to
Eternia?
the story to Eternia, yes.
Yeah.
And in the series, it got a new meaning, it plays a different role than it did before, and I was kind of surprised by that. It makes sense in a way to bring in all those characters, because I have the feeling with the new show they try to get as many different characters, some little screen time as possible, to sort of please as much people enjoying the whole thing as possible.
Yeah.
And which is absolutely fine with me. I got spoiled with one of my favorite characters, Stinkor, in episode 2, I think.
Yeah, I saw him.
So that was very brief, but it was cool that he was there, and I was like so happy to see him.
Yeah, me too with Mossman. Even though R.I.P.
Yeah.
Mossman.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to spoil it, but it's in the first episode.
He will appear later on again. So
Oh, great, okay.
What about the 5th episode? So episode 5.
Okay.
Hydra, do you know there's another 5 episodes to be released?
What?
Yeah,
Yeah,
there's 10. They've made 10.
Why did they only
Yeah.
release 5?
It's Netflix. They do it like that. They release half of the stuff and then they release the other half later.
I thought Netflix was always like, let's release everything right now. Interesting.
No.
No. Their animated stuff is always released
Ah,
half the stuff, and
the
then
animated.
later down the line they release the other half. So there's one of the animes I watched that is a Netflix original animated series. It's not. It's 7 Deadly Sins.
Oh, I've heard
So
of this.
While it's already finished in like Japan with the subs and stuff, the dubbed version, which is exclusive to Netflix, they upload like the first half of the season, and then later down the line they release the second half.
I
They
see.
do it with so many different series as well.
Yeah, so I'm really looking forward to the next episodes, but you know, so far it has been so cool to see all those familiar faces in a new setting.
Yeah.
And it has come to my attention that apparently there's some sort of shitstorm going on, because
There always is.
yeah, there always is, and
Welcome to fandom.
especially with He-Man, I feel that there has been quite a bunch in previously.
Oh, really?
Yeah, when it came to the toy line, to the toys, and I think it whenever you play with someone's nostalgia, you always risk to you know
Piss someone off.
piss someone off. Yeah, and
course.
I actually managed to get Mattel's attention. I posted that
What?
about how much I like the show, and they replied to my story, and I was
Oh,
like,
I saw you tagged them in that story. They actually
yeah,
replied?
they replied, yeah. and I was
Holy
like,
shit, good work, buddy.
I'm not sure if that's a sign of how how sad they are for the shitstorm?
No, it's a sign that they have a really, really good social media person.
Oh, that might be right. Yeah.
That's what I'd say.
So Tom Wilson has said that.
Tom Wilson, welcome, buddy.
Yes, we're not alone.
Hey, Jeremiah's been here since the beginning, man. I feel like we should have a
Oh,
chat with
that's-
Jeremiah because this is, I think, his first time.
Yeah, so he said Stinkor was voiced by Jason Mewes as well. They've got
Jason
quite a few.
Mewes.
Have you
Who's
seen?
Jason Mewes?
So have you seen like all the Clerks, Dogma,
Yeah.
and everything else? The guy. So it's Jay and Silent Bob. Jason Mewes. Wait, is it Jason?
Oh, it's Jay?
I think yeah. Jason Mewes is the guy who plays Jay.
Oh,
Yeah,
cool.
that's right. Amazing, cool. What a fitting character.
Yeah. Jeremiah Price has actually asked us if we do this show every week.
You wouldn't believe
Sadly,
so, right?
yes.
Nearly every.
What was that?
It was sorry. We're so sad we're doing this every week. Not me, but YouTube. But yeah, well,
Yes, Jeremiah, we do this. We endeavor to do this every week. It started off as this challenge where we were supposed to take some Tyranid kits and make them better. So I'm supposed to be working on a improved Tyrannocyte. Here are the bits of it. And Marco is supposed to be working on an improved Exocrine. Do you have it? Is it around? There we
yes.
go. There's a head
And the victim.
and a victim.
The French victim.
Yes.
And Simon is supposed to be working on an improved Karen. Is Karen around?
Yes, I am actually working on it.
Come on!
Karen's
Oh,
here.
come on! So
Yeah,
an
I'm
improved
breaking apart
Dimacron.
the files that I did like 2 weeks ago.
You sure?
So Simon is improving on the Dimacron, and yeah, that's where we're going. But
Yeah.
I've been distracted because this week I haven't posted a picture of it yet, but I put the finishing touches on this bad boy. My can I fix this? One sec.
You still have her?
Sorry? Oh, I still have the Dom. Oh yeah, but like this week I actually mounted my I've been working on a Venom Cannon Warrior off and on for a while now.
Yes.
Mostly off, but sometimes on. And I had finished like more or less painting the warrior a little while back, but then I needed to mount it on a base. And the problem with the base was that I was like, oh, I gotta like do all these like weird gribblies in here and like wires and shit coming out, and I just never got to it. So I finally finished the base, and I mounted this guy on it. And I was so happy with how he came out and like his whole like cannon being mounted into the side of his face thing that I want to make another one immediately.
Woo!
In fact, I want to make two. I've set my sights ambitiously for this stream, but I think I might just get to one. So I've got this Tyranid Warrior that I'm doing a similar thing where I'm mounting his Death Spitter. Like, it's not quite mounted into the side of his head like the other guy because he's just like evolving to that state, but it's pretty close.
Good.
So I'm gonna start like integrating his head into his gun, sort of thing, like the other guy did.
Awesome.
But I also did previously these Tyranid Warriors, which were for a game of Shadow War Armageddon that I had with my buddy Matt. And he'd never played Warhammer before, but he was like, oh, what's this Warhammer thing? I'm really interested. Can you like show it to me? And I was like, well, I hadn't played 40k in a long, long time, but I actually had played Shadow War Armageddon more recently. And I knew the rules, so I made him some warriors, and these are supposed to be like new spawn warriors, so they're a little like, if you compare them, their back carapace isn't quite as wide, and their tails are shorter than a normal warrior, and their hips are a little more narrow. But one thing I did with them that I really liked is I cut down their heads into like these kind of unique shapes, because if you know warrior heads, they come in two flavors. They come in this flavor, and they come in like the tri-prong flavor. So I think I want to cut down this head to be kind of like this, because I think it's a little more interesting, and it makes me feel like they're not like elites yet. They're like kind of new recruits.
Interesting.
Yeah. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, so Jeremiah Price says he's new to sculpting as well.
Nice.
And Tom Wilson said he was watching for about 15 minutes but was playing a game on his phone at the same time.
Thanks, Tom. Glad to have you, buddy. Even if you are playing a game.
So guys, what do you think about actual Games Workshop releases and happenings these days? Because I see Warhammer Plus and all the stuff around it on every media that I follow.
Oh, yeah?
Didn't you?
Are you talking about seeing Warhammer Plus, or are you seeing like the controversy crap that's been coming out around it?
Absolutely.
Yeah, so I don't. Did we talk about that? I can't remember if we talked about it. I don't think we did.
Well, I was absent.
We talked a little bit about like how the IP is affecting some people, like they can't do the stuff anymore or anything else. So obviously, like the people who were trying to use the Games Workshop IP to make their own models and stuff in the same universe, yeah, it's fair enough. Games Workshop cracking down on that. But when it was like fan animations, it was more of they pulling the ladder up behind them after getting some people in. But obviously, like with certain ones, it's like, well, they're making so much money from it. Is it really fair to them to continue to be able to do it or not?
Yeah, so there's some controversy around it. I've been on both sides of it, where at first I'm like, well, that's really dumb, and then I found out how much money one of these fan artists was making, and it's more money than I earn in my full-time job, and that kind of gave me like a different view on it. So
Okay.
and that was also an artist that like would take Games Workshop art and just kind of like animate Games Workshop art rather than creating their own art. They might do more of their own art now, but sorry, was that Simon?
I saw your post about that. So he was one of those guys who got quote who was bought by Games Workshop,
No,
or
no.
did he just use things?
He was not bought by Games Workshop. He does I've described it as like the South Park of Warhammer animations, in terms of like the humor, so it's not the kind of thing that Games Workshop would probably go after. If you listen to like the arguments online, everyone maintains and swears up and down that he's giving Games Workshop free advertising, and that there are people who got into the hobby because of his videos, and some of the people are like, oh yeah, I got back into the hobby because of this video. I'm like, really? Because it's just like shit posting and fart jokes. It's
Okay.
anyway, it's not the kind of stuff that would get me into Warhammer, but apparently maybe it's getting people into Warhammer, so people are like, Games Workshop should thank them because they're giving them free advertising. I'm like, I don't know if this is advertising that Games Workshop would necessarily want. So anyway, I feel like I'm kind of like on both sides about it. How do you feel, Marco?
Well, I'm not sure. I always only read in forums and about second sources, so I didn't read primary sources. But I
So-
was feeling that Games Workshop right now is cracking down too hard on all the IP stuff again. Like
Well,
they forbid-
The situation is they haven't actually cracked down on it. Like, this guy didn't get cracked
Yeah.
down on. He volunteered well, I don't know what he volunteered to do. He said that his channel's going on hiatus. His channel's still up. It's still monetized. He's still got a Patreon, which he's making money off of. He hasn't shut down any of that. He hasn't
But-
demonetized any of that. So he's actually making more money now than before he posted that video.
But you did read the guidelines that Games Workshop.
Yes.
really,
So
okay.
Games Workshop did update their guidelines, but they haven't actually taken any action on them yet.
Of course.
So people are afraid that they'll take action, but there hasn't been any action taken. Other than
Yeah.
they offered some artists contracts to work for them to produce their fan animations officially on Warhammer Plus. And they didn't offer to other artists. And I've heard one story of an artist being offered such a contract from Games Workshop, from them saying, no, it's okay, I'm fine, I'm going to do my own thing. And this artist reported that after they refused the contract, their Patreon and their YouTube was demonetized. Conceivably by Games Workshop saying, like, this person's using our IP. But I've only heard one story of that.
Okay.
So some people are asking if the community is making a bigger deal out of this than it actually is. I understand that it could be a big deal for artists, and I really like the idea of independent artists and supporting independent artists and having independent artists be able to kind of like play within Games Workshop IP, because that's how we get stuff like Astartes. Had that person like adhered to the letter of Games Workshop's rules, we never would have Astartes because they'd be too afraid to create it.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah.
The audio's getting more fucked up here.
Oh,
Yes.
is it me or is it?
Yes, I think it's you.
I was far away from my mic. Is that any better?
That's about right. I had interruptions so that I...
Yeah.
I also have a
Yeah.
fan on because it's hot. Wait 1 second.
So some of the comments we've got. So Peter Hansen has arrived, saying sorry he was late. He was putting some finishing touches on his Hive Tyrant.
Nice.
Is that any better?
Yes. It
Yes.
is.
So the secret is you guys want me to sweat my balls off. I understand.
Yes, we want you to suffer.
Stop complaining, you're pro.
So Autumn Light was saying they are blanket banning Total War mods. It's GW being evil. It's not be a big deal, but it will have echoing effects.
I did not know that they're blanket banning Total War mods. Is that, and again, is that a situation where Games Workshop has taken action against those mods, or is that a situation where they've said you shouldn't do this and people have taken them down willingly? Because it's kind of two different things.
Yeah, it's because this is the first I've actually heard about the mod stuff. So it could be anything, because part of their new thing is you can't create any games with our license, and it's like, well, the games the mods they're doing to some of the games are random starts, putting in characters that are already in the game, just making them playable, and different things for them. Like one of the mods is you can rename the lords, the legendary lords that you can't normally rename.
Mm-hmm.
So there's loads of different ones, or there's one where someone's modded in a really old Games Workshop character called Kremlo. I only know about this because there's two guys I watch who stream Total Warhammer, and they've know so much about the old fluff and everything, that there was a slan that was raised by the Norse, and it was called Kremlo, and there's so much other stuff with it. But
Okay.
I have to... Yeah, sorry.
yeah, I should say, if they're banning stuff like that, that's just stupid.
I have to say that there's a podcast I want to plug later, but right now...
Would it be the one that you were on?
Yeah, I've been invited to a German podcast, and we were having a great time. But at some point, the host sort of got hesitant and said, "Well, I'm not sure if we're okay with saying stuff like that, or maybe I will edit out this part later because we don't want Games Workshop to get angry." And at first, I thought he was joking.
Yeah.
And at some point, I realized that he was serious, and I was like, "Okay, well."
What was it? What were you talking about?
I don't want to say because I don't want backstab him, but it wasn't something really serious. We were just voicing our opinion on certain company politician company decisions.
Well, different people have different levels of comfort with that, right? Like
Yeah,
the
but-
three of us shot shit about what we don't like about Tyranid models, and some people might think that that's like overly negative or something like that.
Yeah, certainly.
Yeah, and it was something along those lines. And I was like, well, apparently I've never, even when I worked for Games Workshop, I always felt like I should voice my opinion because that's my very very right to do so. But when I do it, I always try to be productive and voice productive,
Like positive or constructive.
constructive. Yes.
Yeah.
Well, my English is so rusted. I'm sorry.
Well, that's fine.
Yeah, but suddenly having feeling that someone is shying away from voicing his opinion because he's afraid of the big bad company, that was an odd experience.
Well,
And it resulted in this new policy, and someone said that they even had somewhere a like, if you see something suspicious, here's the hotline.
I have not seen that. I've not heard about that. I think that might be hearsay.
Oh, I think I've seen an image of it actually.
Really?
Yeah.
So there you go. So if it's true or not, if it's believable that someone would state such a statement, that's critical already, I guess.
Well, I don't know. Like, if you're like distributing Games Workshop content, like IP, whatever, and that's what they're worried about them getting mad about, I get that. But if you're just like voicing your opinion, that strikes me more as, because like, isn't it a German podcast, like German language podcast?
Yes.
So I don't know, Simon. Correct me if I'm wrong, because you used to work for Games Workshop Germany. Does Games Workshop Germany even exist anymore?
Nope, it doesn't.
And like, when Games Workshop Germany did exist, did head office like it's a bit niche to think that Games Workshop is going to come and listen to your podcast in German to try and police you?
I think with the new setup, that's about right.
Like, are these guys big?
So,
Like, is their podcast huge or something?
I don't know. I don't know, and I don't care how big or small it is.
No, I'm not saying it like that. I mean, like, maybe I'm wrong. Maybe they've got like millions and millions of listeners, and like it's something that Games Workshop would tune into. But like, this guy who hasn't been shut down by Games Workshop yet, he has 350,000 viewers. No, sorry, 350,000 subscriptions on YouTube, and millions of views on his videos. And if they haven't come after him yet, like, he's worried they might come after him.
They won't. I'm totally on the same page as you are. That's what I said afterwards. I said, well, they are in the UK now, and they don't have a German office anymore. Why on earth would they care what a few weirdos talk on their podcast about? But what I felt so uncomfortable with was that someone actually was fearing to voice his own opinion.
Yeah, like self-censoring.
Yeah.
So that
made the whole situation feel so weird in the first place.
So I think that some other folks have talked about this with this whole like IP whatever stuff, and the way I've heard it described, which I think is a good description, is that it has a cooling effect. Like, if you think about like people getting like hot and excited about like Warhammer and like and creating like fan stuff, it might not, like, if you go and like take action and do like cease and desists and all that, that's like decisive action against this stuff. But if you just go and update your IP policy, and it's kind of like putting a sign up and being like, hey, one day we might come after you for this stuff, so just so you know. Oh, don't worry, we're not doing anything now. Oh, no, it's fine. Just so you know. Like, if someone did that to you, it would make you think twice about maybe pursuing that kind of stuff. So it feels like it's having a cooling effect.
Yeah, but basically the question is who cares about that? So the obviously illegal or people who are pretty in my opinion are pretty sure on the illegal or at least the very very gray area, for example, like Chinese recaster, something like that.
Yeah,
they will not care about what Games Workshop is saying on the other side of the world.
No.
So the only ones who are caring about are those very close, and they might feel, as I've witnessed, intimidated, and that was not good.
Yeah, that's a bit sad. especially if it's just opinions.
Yep.
Like, I've been there, because, like, I don't know. Is Marco still here? Or did he just take off?
I am.
Oh, good.
I'm I'm old. I'm dozing off here in my rocking chair, but I'm still here.
Okay, so let's see how Grandpa Moloch feels about this. But, like, it's a bit of a... I don't know if catch-22 is the right word for it. I feel like that might be overused. But, it feels good to be recognized by Games Workshop. So, like, Marco's Tyranids are in the Tyranid Codex. The, 4th edition? Is it 4th edition Tyranid Codex? Yeah. So, Marco's Tyranids are in the 4th edition Tyranid Codex. And to me, if I had to rate, like, level of recognition for your Tyranid work, if I had to choose, like, the coolest thing that could happen to me, that would be up there. Like, having my stuff represented or, like, present in the Tyranid Codex for people to see. When people buy Tyranid Codex, they're like, hey, check out this cool thing that this dude made. But it's like, these days, I don't think they really feature models in codexes, but they do feature them in White Dwarf. Like, you can get your stuff in White Dwarf or whatever. And then there's also the case that the Warhammer community team tries hard to feature stuff online. That I feel like they... Hold on, I'm going to get some more room here. I feel like at one point they were, like, posting things on the actual Warhammer Instagram page, but I think they stopped doing that. And now what they do is they have this hobby roundup, where they'll their team goes through the Warhammer community online and picks some stuff that they think is really cool, and then for 1 hour on their video, their Twitch show or whatever, they'll show different models by people. And, like, that's pretty cool. It's a pretty cool way to get recognized by Games Workshop. I've been recognized on there for a bunch of stuff. Well,
I was about to say
but the thing is that... How do I say this? It's... I feel like it's walking a tightrope. Because I know, for me, I don't do it for the Games Workshop carrot. Like, that's not why I do what I do. But I do appreciate it. So it's kind of like both sides. Like, the way that I often think about this is third-party bits. You can go and, like, as Marco was demonstrating a second ago when he had his Titan out there, you can go on the internet now and get so many third-party bits. Like, cool stuff. Like, all the wicked stuff that Marco's used to convert his Alien Hunter, his Ordo Xenos Titan Force from people like Taro Model Maker.
Yep.
However, as soon as you put those bits on your model, it is no longer Games Workshop acceptable. You cannot enter it in a tournament that's sponsored by Games Workshop. You cannot enter it in Armies on Parade. So, if you want to get recognition from Games Workshop, you can only use Games Workshop bits and Games Workshop models. And that's something that I've talked to Simon about before, when we did our interview with you on the Xenos Alchemist podcast, where you were saying that you felt like you could only play with this set of toys. I think it was when you were talking about working for the company.
Mm-hmm.
And then when you were no longer working for the company, your eyes were open to this whole other world of miniatures that you never considered before because you were concerned about things being Games Workshop legal.
Yep.
So it's a catch-22 for me because it's nice to get recognition from Games Workshop, but sometimes I want to go to Zinj Industries, buy an AK-47, and slap it on my Gene Stealer cult, just like cultists, because it looks more like rabble, like rough and ready, stealing whatever weapons we can, because you can only get so many like auto guns from Games Workshop.
Of course.
So what I'm trying to say is that I feel for myself that sometimes I walk this line where I want to be creative and I want to make stuff, but in the back of my head there is, like, I don't like to admit it, but there is a thing where it's like, well, if I do this, I can't enter this in Armies on Parade. And like, I don't work for Armies on Parade, but like, it's cool. I've reflected recently that though I don't appreciate like Golden Demon's good, but like I don't paint at a level where I can compete in Golden Demon, especially these days.
Yep.
But what I really love is like making forces that have like a theme, like my idea for like Kroot Tyranid Hunters. And I feel like that's where, if I'm going to compete in any kind of like Games Workshop sponsored competition, I want to compete in like Armies on Parade, because that's where I can like put together a whole force, and the whole force like speaks to this one theme, and yada yada yada. But then if I want to do that, I can't use any third-party miniatures, and I feel like I'm trying to like dance for Games Workshop's attention, but also trying to like do what I want to do, and sometimes the two come into conflict.
Yeah.
And just dancing for Games Workshop's attentions just felt, well, for me, it felt weirder and weirder.
Yeah, so talk about it, because you, like, Marco, you've been like, I talk about this like kind of in the abstract, and I can talk about it like getting featured on the hobby roundup or whatever, or like maybe wanting to submit my models to White Dwarf. But like, you've actually worked with the studio, you've actually had like your miniatures, your Tyranid miniatures featured in White Dwarf multiple times, featured in the Codex, and like, do you, when you were doing all that and you were working so closely with the studio, did you feel a certain pressure that there were like creative avenues that you wanted to pursue but you felt you couldn't pursue because you had to kind of like toe the Games Workshop party line?
Well, there weren't any third-party models back then, but
Yes.
what I definitely did feel in retrospect was that my motivation kept getting more skewed by this, because initially what started me going, just like every one of us, just like you do, is the kind of creative impulse where you think, wow, this kind of model would be awesome to make and see, and because it just feels cool and weird.
Yeah.
And having done more and more stuff for the studio, which I really enjoyed, and which was a huge honor for me, of course, just kept shifting my own motivation more towards, oh, what would they like to see? What do they need? And of course, a couple of times they told me, look, please do it like this, or we need this from you. And this kept just changing my own creative impetus more and more, to the end result that I went on a 10-year hiatus because of this, because there was a lot of pressure involved, which I only had myself in me, and just changed myself for the worse, I think, as an artist.
Yeah. Yeah, and you talked about that a bit when we did our interview with you on the Xenos Alchemist podcast,
Yes,
and I remember that. But so there were no third-party models back then, but like in terms of like painting styles or like paints that you used or anything like that, was there anything there that you felt pressure to make sure that it was a certain way to make the studio happy?
I remember how Marco showed me the infamous Dr. Worm from Infinity, which he used for his Inquisitor, Odoxenos Inquisitor, and he told me about this model, and I was like, what on earth is he doing with an Infinity model?
Yeah. Of course, even back then, I started using models from different companies, like the Heresy, Maggot Lord, for example, for my Ouroboros Hive Tyrant, and I full well knew that these models never would appear in any publication of any kind. But as far as the studio telling me what to do and what not to do, the only thing I can actually remember was Forge World asking me for some kind of models to just convert less, because they want their conversion kits, especially of the Flying Warriors, to just show how it would fit to the stock model and not have any other changes.
Interesting. Okay.
Because of this, within the Flying Warrior squad, which won the Gold Demon later on, I have a single model which still has hooves.
Oh no! You hate that.
It's stock-posed, the legs are not converted or bent or changed or anything, and it didn't get the claws I used on all the other models, because Fortune asked me to just do a stock model, which they never used for anything else after this, as far as I know.
Okay, so that I like that you just mentioned that. You bent your creative vision for Forge World, and it didn't even pay off. Like not to say it needs to pay off and that you need to get like featured or whatever, but like when we do this stuff, when we bend ourselves into pretzels to get recognition from Games Workshop, we assume that we're going to get recognition from Games Workshop. And what if we don't? And what if like you changed your vision because you wanted it to be like on Armies on Parade or something like that, and then you didn't even get it?
Yeah, absolutely.
And then you're stuck with something that isn't like your full vision, and you didn't get the payoff. So I don't know, it's tough. So I don't know. So how I was trying to link this to like what Hydra was saying about the podcast and like not voicing certain opinions. Like I've felt that pressure as well, that sometimes I feel like I want to be critical of like Games Workshop and like decisions that they make and like information that comes out. Like very recently there was a lot of information that came out on Warhammer Twitter about working conditions at Games Workshop and about pay and like HR processes. I think it's a couple. There was this man and woman who I believe met while working at Games Workshop in Nottingham. And they both shared different sides of their story about like the woman went on a maternity leave, and like when you go on a maternity leave, they're supposed to protect your position. You're supposed to come back to the same job. But like they like changed her job while she was away, and she couldn't come back to her job, and they like gave her like a different job that she wasn't really passionate about. And then it sounded like they kind of gave her shit for like pushing back and being like, hey, where's my old job? And yeah, so it was not great. So it didn't look good on the company. And this was all kind of sparked off by someone posting a Games Workshop. So, okay, question. In Germany, when you post a job, Marco, you're someone who runs an organization. I know you're in the social services sector, so it's a little bit different, but do you have to post the salary for the job in Germany?
You don't have to know.
Oh. And how is it viewed in Germany if you ask about salary?
It's perfectly fine.
Okay. And like as someone who does a lot of hiring, how would you, like if someone asked you about a salary, how would you respond?
I would be perfectly fine with this. It's normal.
Yeah. Yeah, and like that's what we should all be working towards. But I know here in Canada it's not always like that. Employers are getting more and more like posting salaries. I also work in kind of like social services, and
I do it every time, because even if I don't have to, why not?
Yeah, exactly. But the thing with this oh god, I can't remember the exact wording, but it was on like the job might even still be posted. But in this posting from Games Workshop, it was something like they said like, oh, they actually I think mentioned in the posting, we don't post salary because like we're interested in your passion about the hobby or something like that. Like kind of implying that you can't be passionate about the hobby and be concerned about how much money you're going to get paid.
That is weird.
And that's a dick move. Like people need to afford to live their lives. Like they need to know what they're going to need to budget and shit like that. Like this is not a cheap world we live in. I live in like the unaffordability capital of Canada. So it was a bit of a dick move, and people like called him on it. They're like, this is a dick move. So this guy kind of came out and he's like, you know, the reason they're not posting it is that their salaries are not great. And like this guy was like involved with, I think he like, you know, the Horus Heresy box that came out, Betrayal at Calth?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He like devised the rules for it or something, and then he like devised the rules for like Silver Tower and like all these other, or he had a part in them at least, all these other boxes that came out that were phenomenally popular. And like he had all this success, they were all phenomenally popular, and then he basically went to his bosses and he was like, hey, yo, how about a raise? I've been doing this for a while and I'm doing really well at it. And they're like, oh yeah, sorry, you know, it's just not in the budget. And they basically told him, they're like, hey, if you want more money, you can work, we have no limit on overtime policy, you can go work, like do overtime and shit like that. So this guy was literally in his day job working as a rules guy, and in the evenings he was waiting like the bar at Bugman's.
Well, not really.
To be able to make more money, because because like he couldn't get a raise.
And if I remember correctly, the wage that he posted was really low. I mean, minimum wage for the UK.
Yeah.
For this kind of job.
Wait, you saw this on Twitter? You're on Twitter?
No, I actually
Have you been hiding from me?
I watched a YouTube video on this a couple of days ago.
Okay. I think I posted as a story on Instagram this. But yeah, so anyway, that came out, and that like talking about Games Workshop, like that's something that I think is kind of crappy, and like it's a crappy practice, and like that's something that they need to do better on, and like that's a critical of Games Workshop. And then when posting critical opinions on Games Workshop, there's a voice in the back of your head that's like, hey, what if like someone from the Warhammer community team sees this and they decide they don't want to feature your models anymore? And it just feels like a bullshit thing to be thinking, because like this is an important thing from like one side of the community, and like people had negative experiences and shit like that, and like I granted that we're just supposed to show up and buy models, but we can also like ask the companies that we buy models for to like
Yeah.
be more responsible.
Well, I guess the first thing to remember is that it's not just the Games Workshop, but I mean, the organization is always the sum of all the parts. And
Yeah.
I always will fondly remember back in the very old days, Jervis Johnson and Andy Chambers talking about the bean counters.
Yeah.
And recently, like, the bean counters have taken over. So, of course, you will find a lot of different opinions within the company as well on these kind of topics.
Yeah. So for anyone who's not familiar, bean counter usually means like someone who's more interested in like making sure that they're saving money or making money or whatever, versus like worrying about like, I don't know, the creative pursuit of it, the creative side of it. Yeah, but I don't know, like that can also be a bit of a like a cop out.
Certainly.
That you can't be like, well, the bean counters have taken over, we can't like be rational human beings, because there's bean counting, but then there's like HR practices, and I think we're getting to I'd hope that like our different countries and society is getting to a place where you can't just like have shitty HR practices anymore, that you have to care about the people who work for you and like take care of them.
Yeah. So
Well, I think that basically that dramatically depends on the understanding a company has of itself.
Yeah.
And yeah, well, when I think about salaries at Games Workshop, I started to work at I worked only part-time at Games Workshop.
Yeah.
I don't know how that's described correctly. So I've never been a full-timer.
Yeah.
So I got paid by the hour I was working, and
Yeah.
there's a certain amount of hours you can work without having to pay tax for your work. So I was always in that category. But when I started to work for Games Workshop, my the money I got for an hour of work
Yeah.
was so ridiculous that I didn't tell anyone, because they
Ridiculously low.
Yes.
Yeah.
And they said for each year you work for games for the company, you will get a raise by 50 cents per hour.
That's not a lot, but
Yeah, so I worked for I think 11 years or 12 years.
so
there.
you made an extra $6 an hour?
No. I got a raise once. No, I got 2 raises. And then they said, well, we have to freeze the raise policy on all levels
Yeah.
because reasons.
Yeah.
And yeah, and after that, it sort of was a bit of joke
Yeah.
around the crew that we called it the Ice Age. And,
Yeah.
because the raises were frozen, and at some point someone asked if the Ice Age was over, and no, it was not. And yeah, I think I got just, I started with €3.50 an hour.
what?
Yes.
That's not
And-
legal in Germany.
Yeah, I know. Well, maybe it was back then.
Maybe. Yeah.
And in the end, I think I was at €5.50, or maybe in the last year at 6.
Yeah.
So of course, yeah. When you compare that to, I think the minimum wage they are arguing about right now is €12.50.
Yeah, pretty much. Minimum wage right now is close to $10.
And how is that? How does that stack up in Germany? Like, is it still considered very low?
Of course, it's the minimum wage. So €6 is like how long ago was it?
I think I stopped working in 2012.
It's ridiculously low. It's like a slave wage.
Yeah. And
So-
and you know, I never complained because I always told myself, yeah, I'm not getting lots of money, but the little money I get, I'm spending on miniatures, which I'm paying only half the price for.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But that was sort of the mentality of the company, that you wouldn't question the yeah, I would almost say you wouldn't question the authority.
yeah, and that's kind of that came up in this conversation, that it was very much the culture, like, don't ask about salaries, don't ask each other about salaries.
Yeah.
And also what you identified there, Simon, that you are working for a company that like, you use the models, you enjoy the hobby, and in some way they're benefiting from that. Like, they hire these people who are quote unquote passionate about the hobby, and guess what, they get to pay you less because they're letting you do your dream job. Like, your job is models. Like, how lucky are you? And it just
But also,
Yeah.
some of the
Absolutely.
salary is going back into the company.
yeah, you're paying,
Yeah.
like,
Yeah.
they're like, don't worry, we give you a discount on models. It's like, okay, so I get to give you back the money that you're supposed to be paying me.
Yep.
Absolutely.
So it's kind of
Well,
like,
nowadays they would argue at least you have the ability to buy them. I think everyone who wanted to buy as a staff member could have bought Curse City.
oh right,
Yeah, because there's the ones that got sent to the stores, the store managers, they can hide one away for themselves and buy it on the day.
Yep.
but that's a dangerous precedent. Like, when you're hiring people who are passionate about, like, your product, and then you pay them less because you know they're passionate, or like, you know that they're going to put up with bullshit because they're passionate about your product. Like, they do this in like, I worked in tech for a time, like applications and stuff like that, phone stuff, and there's this whole culture, they call it like the passion culture, that you need to, like, be passionate about your work and show how passionate you are, and they use this as like a cover to get people to work overtime.
Of course.
And they don't pay you for overtime, but they're like, oh yeah, you know, we just gotta hustle, you know, we just gotta do this, like, last push, you know, oh, just gotta, like, and then it's kind of like, they don't say it outward, but they kind of imply that if you're not willing to work unpaid overtime, like, when they're, like, crunching on this project, then you're not quote unquote passionate. And it's like, well, no, I want to get paid for the work I'm doing. And, like, a lot of times it's like shitty project management that makes these things happen. That someone didn't plan something right, so that everyone's, like, rushing at the last minute to finish it. And then instead of being critical of the person who didn't plan right, instead of being like, hey, like, this is going beyond, like, the scope of what we're supposed to be working on, it's like, oh, well, yeah, well, we just got to work together and we'll get through it, and then we'll have a big party
I think
after,
the
and it'll be great.
microphone is acting up again.
Sorry, I'm maybe talking too much.
No.
No, all good. All good.
I think you are absolutely right. This is yeah, this is how the passionate thing rolls, right?
Yep.
And the question is, why would anyone do that? And it's probably because when you say it's about poor project management,
Yeah.
your initial thought would be, well, then hire someone who's better at that, but that would probably cost more.
Yeah.
Of course, there's sucking up the passion like a vampire. Of course, there. And
Yeah.
who wouldn't in the place? Absolutely. Honestly, who wouldn't do this?
Okay. Well, this has evolved into a very interesting conversation.
Absolutely.
Chat has also been going a fair bit about it as well. But before we
Still
go,
in the chat, yeah?
yeah, but before we go that, we've had Daddy Gamble, The Orphanage, and Hannibal Lecter all turn up.
Oh, hey, buddies.
nice.
Hey, hello.
Peter Hansen has also said he's been inspired by Thrifty Squirrel's Toxic Green Conversion. Don't know if you guys seen it. It's where he's got the tentacles coming out from the carapace instead of in the arm socket.
Yes. Can we all talk about how awesome Thrifty Squirrel is? Because, like, shit.
Oh yeah.
Like, we don't have to worry about people copying our crap anymore, because they're all going to be copying Thrifty Squirrel.
We're old. No one cares.
We're
about us.
old. Yesterday's news.
Absolutely.
Also,
He went on a like spree on me earlier today.
Thrifty?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's I don't know. I'm waiting for him to do his dominatrix.
Oh jeez.
I mean, it's got to be coming. Come on.
He's doing more Hydra duels.
Yeah, he's got to stop doing the hair duels and just bite the bullet and do the dom.
Do the dom.
Just
Sounds
do
like
it,
a
buddy.
dance.
It sounds
Do
like
the
what?
dom.
It sounds like
Sounds
a
like a
dance.
dance.
Yeah.
Nice.
Come on, everybody, do the dom.
Dom 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 da dom dom da dom.
Okay, guys, question.
Yeah.
Look at my screen.
Yeah.
I've
Yeah.
done this wonderful pave walk here.
Yes.
Or the cobblestone. Am I doing the stones on this area as well, or do I, you know?
I think you should. I think it would be nice if you did.
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
More work. Oh dear.
No worries. I still have a couple of bricks left. Just hope I don't run out.
That'd be shitty.
Yeah. Yeah. I have to admit that I'm a little bit emotionally wounded today, so I'm
Oh
sharing.
no,
you-
I'm sorry.
Why?
Oh, that's not. It's all voluntarily, but it's still it's still working inside me, and that's a little bit weird feeling right now.
Anything we can help with?
No, I just I have been when I was a kid, I had my pacifier for the longest time.
Yes.
And like very long. I don't recall how long, but it was probably longer than it was good for my teeth.
Mm-hmm.
And my parents at some point decided that I should get rid of it, and their idea to sort of convince me was for me to give it to Saint Nicholas.
What?
Okay.
Yeah, because in Saint
That's
Nicholas
hilarious.
Yeah, because well, we have the cultural thing that he comes to visit, and there was someone down the street, some neighbors. All the neighbors' kids were gathering in our living room, and we were singing songs, and then he showed up, and gifts. Everyone did something like saying a rhyme or playing a song or something like that.
Yeah.
And then he would hand out presents, and then he would be gone. And my parents, I'm not sure how they did that, but they convinced me that I should give my pacifier to Saint Nicholas. And I don't know. I think it's a little trauma.
Wow. Okay.
It still doesn't sit well with me. So I had that time in my life when I saw like a lost pacifier on the street somewhere.
Oh yeah.
I started crying.
Oh no.
Yeah, I know. But now as life goes on, I'm on the other side of the fence now. So I have my older son being like the dentalist is saying, well, he should get rid of it because it's not good for his teeth.
Schnooli.
And
And let me guess, you can have your pacifier all day long.
Yeah, take it
I
from
still
him.
have it.
It'll be yours now.
Yeah, no, I have something else. So
Beer?
yeah, that's why I'm sucking on this. Mm. So we're trying to make him believe that it's a good idea to put it away, and that's really a hard task. So we have tried to we've almost tried everything so far, and it didn't really work.
Yeah.
And the final plug was that he has a good while ago, like 2 months or so, has seen some toys in a store. He really liked,
Yeah.
and we because we thought that we finally have him there. We
Oh,
said,
you guys are
well,
devious.
yes, that that's toys for big boys, and big boys don't need a pacifier and
Oh
all that.
no. Okay.
Yeah, and so tonight he was like, okay, I think I want to have this toy. We have it, we bought it, and it's in our secret locker here.
Yeah.
And so we you know be ready, and yeah, that's so tonight he was like, okay, I'm ready for that. And
Devious.
because, yeah, because he was he's having some throat problems with resulting having a closed nose all the time. He needs to take those nose spray like
Yeah.
3 times a day, and we because getting a nose spray into a kid can be a really endeavor.
Yeah.
That's one of the crucial parts where his pacifier played a crucial role.
Oh shit.
And today he was like, okay, I don't need that anymore. And when I approached him with with the uh, the nose spray, he instantly opened his mouth awaiting his pacifier, and I was like, damn, that's how deep this thing has grown into his behavior.
Yeah.
And finally, he well, he has seen I have some plush cat. So my plush animals are in my locker, and he has recently seen one of those, and he tried to beg me about it, that he wanted to have it, and he so desperately needs that cat. And tonight I said, well, because I saw him, he was almost starting to cry because we needed to get this nose spray done, and he was in such a conflict situation that I said, well, I have this cat, and maybe this cat, that's very good at helping sad children and blah blah blah. And yeah, so but I didn't want to give up on the cat in the first hand because I'm a sentimentalist, nostalgic, stupid.
You mean you didn't want to give it to your kid?
Yes.
Yeah.
Call me selfish, but
Hey
Yeah,
man, you
and
had
so-
brothers. They do weird things to your brain where you there's things that are yours. I have this with my wife. Like she'll just take something that's mine and just start using it without
Yeah.
asking me, and I'm like, "No, you have to ask." And like I had a brother and she had no siblings. So we're like different wired. Where
yeah.
with her everything in her house is hers. And with me, you have your things and I have my things. And if we want to share, we have to negotiate. Sorry to interrupt.
Yeah, that's probably the source of it. So tonight I, abandoned my cat to him for the sake of him giving up his pacifier.
Oh.
And he went to bed, and he was so brave, but in the end he didn't make it. And my wife and I have been thinking about how to deal with this situation.
Sorry, he didn't
tomorrow
make
night.
it? What do you mean he didn't make it?
He needed his pacifier. He was brave, but in the end he was so desperate. My wife said I don't know what to do. I need to have something, and I need to have my pacifier.
But couldn't you just be
And,
like, you got to power through, buddy? Or is he like crying or something?
No, he was crying. He was in the very beginning. I was like, okay, you need to get through this, and he was trying to take the easy route. But in the end, my wife said he was desperate, like really desperate.
Okay.
Yeah. So I said, well, he's going to have my cat for tomorrow night, to go to bed with him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and so we had to wash it, and because it's really old, I was very excited if the cat would survive the washing machine or
Just
not.
fall
But
apart.
she did.
Yeah.
If she would fall apart. But she did. She came out clean, and we are prepared for tomorrow's adventures now.
Good.
But
Yeah.
I have to admit, this whole story sort of is, you know, moving me inside.
Yeah. Well,
too.
I feel like Peter said something about in the chat. Flynn, something about.
Yeah, to be fair, Hydra, there is something kind of melancholy about lost or discarded children's items.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Jeremiah has actually asked, have we got any pointers for beginners for tips on doing sculpting miniatures?
Before we go on this let me have one
Yeah.
sentence. Maybe it's also a sign of why I love Warhammer models and toys generally so much in my adult life. But I vividly can feel how much those toys meant to me when I was a child. How much comfort they gave me, how important they were to me, and how emotionally I was relying on them to just stay afloat mentally.
Yeah.
So I can
Being
totally
is sort of an anchor.
absolutely. I can totally relate to your story, Simon.
Thank you. I'm not weird then.
No,
Oh,
definitely
We
not.
both are.
We're all grown men and women playing with toys.
That's right.
Absolutely. For a reason.
For a reason. That's right.
Absolutely.
For
Okay,
Jeremiah,
yeah.
I'd say if you've discovered this channel, I've got a bunch of beginner sculpting tutorials on this same channel, on my Modern Synthesis channel, so you could check those out. That's a good start. Hydra is the one who taught me a lot of my lessons about sculpting. Do you have any beginner tips that you want to impart now?
Use Nivea to lubricate your tools. So Nivea cream, that's here, like the blue box.
Hand cream,
This
blue, yeah, hand cream.
Yeah, hand cream. Well, not all hand creams work the
Right.
same way, and therefore I have never tried anything else because I'm happy how this works.
I use the same.
So another tip would be when you sculpt, never push green stuff. Treat it as you would treat your lover. Always gently push him or her in the direction you want her. If you force it, you will break it. Unless he or she wants to be forced, then it's okay. But
Ask permission.
always ask for permission. Yes, because with green stuff, if you push too hard, it will move in weird ways you are not expecting. But if you gently, especially when you're working in thin layers, that's not so important. But if you have like a bulk of material, you have to gently push it in the direction you want it to go. If you are having troubles with blends, so if you have certain areas on a model that blend into, for example, you sculpted, I don't know, something that you want to blend into an existing model area, you might need to mix the green stuff with another putty. So that really depends on where you are located. If you are located in Canada, you are lucky. You can,
Or the United States.
or the United States, you have probably access to epoxy sculpt, which you can almost at any ratio mix with green stuff. Well, you can mix it in with any ratio with green stuff. It just doesn't make sense, to have like 5% green stuff and 95% epoxy sculpt.
Yeah.
But that mix makes the green stuff smooth, really smooth, and you can easily blend it into other areas. What else?
Always. So you talked about lubricating your tools with Nivea. That's useful when like you're taking your sculpting tool and you're actually like moving the green stuff around. I'd suggest that when you're mixing green stuff, wet your hands with water, because it's super sticky. I mean, like, I feel like you're not even using green. If you haven't learned this yet, you're probably not using green stuff, because people get so frustrated with it they don't really make it past this step. But yeah, lubricating your hands with water when you're mixing the two parts together is super helpful.
And super important, yes.
Yeah. Also, you're always likely to mix too much green stuff. You always, like, whenever you're trying to sculpt, I don't know, unless you're like some kind of wizard sculptor. My experience is that a lot of people mix more green stuff than they think. They think they need more green stuff than they do. And I often have this, like, not just when I'm mixing it up to begin with, but also when I'm, like, applying it to the model. I will make an error of putting, like, too big a blob on. I think in general, I try to sculpt things bigger than they need to be. And one of the superpowers that Hydra has, that he might not be aware of, is that he's really good at sculpting really small stuff. Like, very fine detail. And I don't know if you always mix the right exact amount of green stuff, but...
Very rarely. I always make those sausages from it, or tentacles.
Yeah, you can have side things that you use your green stuff for, like making, like, if you have extra green stuff, make tentacles, make horns. Some people do it to, like, bulk up bases. If they want to make, like, a scenic base, they'll just, like, take their extra little bits of green stuff and smear it on to add bulk. I got a form from a model train store for making, like oh god, like plaster rocks and stuff like that. It's a black plastic form, and what I did was I took one of the forms, and whenever I had an extra bit of putty, like, you shove it in from this side and then you pop it out, and it like makes a rock. So you can see all the different colors here. Those are all, like, different bits of, like, leftover putty I had that I was smearing into this form, and now I've got, like, a rock that I can put on a base, made out of my extra putty. But also, one of the best tips Hydra ever gave me is that green stuff is heat and cold sensitive. So if you have too much green stuff, you can put it immediately after you mix it. Take the little bit that you're using right away, and then take the extras and put it in your freezer. And the colder your freezer is, the longer that green stuff will last. And then you can take it out if you're working for, like, a number of hours. If you're, like, spending a whole day sculpting, that's a great way to just kind of, like, take a little bit out of the freezer at a time. And it will defrost very quickly in your hands, like the heat from your hands. Yeah. But what I usually do is I'll make, like, flat little pancakes of it and put them in, like, a little plastic container. And then when you take them out, it's so much easier to defrost them, and they also freeze faster that way. Sorry, Hydra?
No, I was just agreeing that it defrosts so quickly that it's incredible.
Yeah, people ask me that. They're like, "Oh man, but how do I defrost it?" And I honestly don't think about it because I've done it, and I know it's quick.
You take it in your hand, and it's so quickly warm again.
Yeah.
The other thing is, when you're talking about heat, you can turn the game around, of course. So if you have sculpted something that you want to cure really fast because you want to add something else, you know, I used to have a workspace with a radiator behind the desk, and I had a little wooden panel where I placed the model on top of it and just placed it on the radiator. Of course, that only works works best during wintertime. So I placed the model on the radiator, and so it, you know, cured way faster without melting. What I also did was one of the first lamps that I worked under was not fine LED lamps, but what are those called?
Halogen. Halogen, yeah.
Halogen, which were A, super bright, and A, super warm. And I used one of those desk lamps from IKEA as my little curing oven. So I placed the thing I sculpted below it and placed the curing oven above it.
Yeah, and if you're working purely from green stuff, you don't have to worry about how hot it gets. But when you're sculpting the green stuff onto a plastic model, that's when you need to worry about overheating it.
Oh yeah.
You don't want to...
Melted a few there.
Yep.
Okay, now I'm getting carried away with those cobblestones.
So is that kind of the stuff you were looking for, Jeremiah? Is that helpful? Let us know.
Dwarfenage has had to go.
Bye, Dwarfenage. Thanks for joining us.
Bye.
Goodbye.
Do. Damn it! I feel like there's some fine brass fences out there that would probably work perfectly here,
Oh, nice.
but I don't have any of those.
Oh, damn.
So I would love to have those what are those shapes called here? Like bullet shapes repeated around here, but I don't want to use this piece of terrain because I think it would close off the whole area too much.
Yeah.
But I have no idea what to use instead.
I think just leaving it open works best.
So when you're not careful, you're running down the stairs and then you go, "What?" Falling like you do.
I like the brass, but it is Warhammer.
Story of my life.
Because it looks to me like it's just like the diorama is just cut halfway through the stairs. So like the stairs would come out a bit more.
Okay.
So that's why to me it looks like it works.
Okay, yeah, you're right. Because there's no clear transition between this area and this.
Yeah.
I see. But once I add sand and stuff, I want this area to be more rocky and more obvious that it's into the earth, and I want this to look like concrete. But on the other side, you're right that I should find something designed around this area so it stands out more clearly that it's not just cut away.
Okay. Good. Thank you.
Okay.
Sorry if it's loud. I'm going fishing in Warrior Town.
In Warrior Town?
Yeah, I've got this bag called Warrior Town. There was a time when I wanted to make a whole Tyranid warrior army. So I was like collecting plastic Tyranid warriors, and I would like buy like shitty ones off the like eBay and shit like that. So I call it Warrior Town because it's where all my warrior bodies and tails and legs live.
Nice.
Awesome.
That's so good. I think I have like 4 Tyranid warrior bodies and tails left over, and I treasure them.
Yeah, I got way
Now
too
that I
many.
know where they are.
Also, you know what I've been treasuring? I've been treasuring friggin' Rending Claw arms from 2003. When did they come out?
Yeah. Same here.
The big
And, like,
ones, yeah.
Remember when we could only get them like one per warrior box?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I didn't use any of them. They're all like right here. These like old beefy Rending Claws. So now I'm like, I gotta use them on this warrior.
Finally, they find a use. I think that's the main problem that has been a learning experience in my hobby time, that you can use everything, and that's like a curse. Because I have been hoarding so much stuff over the years because I always think that I can use that. I can use this and I can use that at some point.
My curse is I shouldn't use this because it's so rare. Or so difficult to come by. And then I get way too much. And then the best advice I got was from Weirding's Way on Instagram. He was doing an interview with Between the Bolter and Me. And he said, you gotta use it up, man. You gotta like go into that bits box and find those bits that you've been saving because they're so rare, and you just gotta use them.
Guys got a point.
Smart man.
Those rending claws are brilliant to combine with just like the bone saber arms to make actual proper sized rending claws for a high tyrant, rather than getting a brood lord and just taking the arms off it.
Yeah.
I think that costs just as much for some, it's just to get a pair of the rending claws.
Yeah, exactly. My sound right now, like
Trying to figure out where I put all those Ravener bodies that I ordered.
Yeah.
Hold on, I'll be right back.
So Marco, what are you working on? You're on the next night?
Well, yeah, sort of. Actually, the first night I worked on.
The first
Well,
night.
Yeah. You know, sometimes when you start on a project and it's a long project, and for some weird reason you have to look at the first steps again, they're just
Yeah.
weird. Because I was so happy with the first night, and I just pushed the pieces together right now just for a quick look, and I was like, no, the angle of this head is totally wrong. It's just not like I would do it today. So I have to change it quickly because I just can't stand to have it like look wrong. Now it's good. Much better.
I did not tell you until now that I'm getting back into the make my Titan pretty game.
Okay.
I was just asked yesterday, I don't really remember, but I was asked if I would sculpt onto some armor plates.
Really?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Usually I would have said yes, but no. But thank you. But it's my former boss from Games Workshop, who has been a very dear friend over a couple of years.
I know, yeah.
And yeah, he has he's building like the most impressive Black Legion army, and has several Night Titans to go along.
Okay, awesome.
And there's one Titan, I don't recall the names. He looks like, let me get my phone. To describe him. He's having sorry for blah blah, but let me check it. Well, he looks like your ordinary knight.
Ah, the big one, I know him. Yeah, it's a Porphyrion.
Okay, yeah. So he asked me if I could turn that into some chaos thing, and
Ooh. Of course
Yeah.
you can.
yeah, I think. Well, I guess it won't be that much of won't be too troublesome, because just he already has all those rivets. And yeah, just sculpting some arrows and some eyes of Horus onto that will be, I guess it will be fun, because it's easy and quick. And on the other side, working on a relief again is something that I really enjoyed when I did your Titan work.
So glad to hear that, because I still love it to death. Yeah, still tempted to get the Warlord Titan one day. But first I have to finish with the Reaver.
Yeah, that's right. So, how's the old resident boy coming along?
Ooh, good question.
Well, actually the whole year has been, I had too much on my plate, because I had no idea that the Night Titan project would take so much time. With
Joan, mute your microphone.
Sorry.
Yeah, that's better.
So yeah, no, I haven't done any work on the Reaver this year, but I still firmly intend to finish it within this calendar year.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Wow.
there's not too much to be done actually. Just two things, just the crucified prime and the base, and the base is not going to be complicated.
Just the crucified prime, he says.
Yeah.
Just the
Yeah,
crucified prime.
Shit, what can I say? I definitely put more things on my plate than I could eat this year, so I have to see what I can do about this.
Yeah, of course.
I just totally underestimate the size of the Imperial Night Titan project. But that being said, shit like this hasn't been done before by anyone, so I'm well within my rights to just underestimate the whole thing. And of course, I was out of practice too, but I think the end is within sight, and I'm damn proud of what I got.
You said you wanted to get your nights done by November, was that right?
Absolutely. That's pretty much my goal for having them modeled and sent away to Holland, and then it's good for me.
Okay, why was it November? Was there any reason for that, or
No,
just
about a couple of painting slots were at the painting service, which is in Holland, and
Okay.
the deadline for me to send them to Holland is November. The slot starts in December. The first slot is being painted right now, and I bought a huge, big slot for all the Night Titans and a couple of Deathwatch Marines in winter, and I'm really itching to just get this shit finished so I can start something else.
Okay, yeah. I can understand that.
Yeah, I mean, it's really liberating not knowing you have to paint it yourself, just focusing on the modeling. But I was totally underestimating first how much work goes into each Imperial Knight, just converting this the thing, and then I totally got carried away by all those magnetized options, which is amazing to see and to play around with. But yeah, I still got a ton of these to do, and in the end, I think I will have to have like 30 arm options, 40 arm options, or something like this.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
To be clear, it's not that the knights need this much work; it's that you're putting this much work into them.
Absolutely. And what's the word they use for for Star Wars? Very toyetic.
What?
It's very toyetic. Just like so much fun to play around with.
I have never heard that word. That's a really interesting word.
Yep.
Oh, sorry, toy-atic? Addict
Yeah,
or
yeah.
toyetic?
It's toyetic, like ETIC. Toyetic.
Whoa, I've never heard that. Cool. Okay.
So the native speaker learned an English word, right?
I don't know that that's an English word, but yeah, I learned a word.
What do you want to say? Marco just made it up?
Yeah.
It's from Canada. Guys, you have seen those documentaries on Netflix about our toys back in the 80s? There's one on He-Man, there's one on Star Wars.
I haven't watched them. I need to watch them.
You should. Good fun.
Okay.
So
I didn't know that there was one about Star Wars, but
There is. Just look on Netflix. Easy.
makes sense in a way.
So we've got Symbio Joe is here now.
Howdy,
He's gone.
Symbio Joe.
Hey, Joe.
Good evening, Mental Gen. I walked into witness peak productiveness.
Well.
Oh yeah, because we're all working on models.
It's your
We
game and
are.
your evil cynicism, isn't it?
Symbio, yeah, he's
What?
pretty cynical.
He's
It's
making fun of
German,
us.
right?
Not
jamming.
being lazy and just talking shit again.
And Jeremiah and Forest Sprite have both said, so you're customizing. So Jeremiah's gone. So you're customizing a whole knit army, and Forest Sprite has said a whole army seems ambitious.
Forest Sprite, you know me so poorly. It is ambitious, but why not? The secret is to work on the army extremely slowly. Like I'm not thinking about this as customizing a whole army. I'm thinking this as customizing like a kill team, and then adding additional warriors to the kill team, and then customizing each one of them. It makes me less crazy.
That's one way to approach it.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's pretty clever. I think once you have like a stock army, that's at least how I did it with my NIDs. That once I had a stock army, it was easy to say, well, what unit is the next one I want to work on, and then I could spend all the time I wanted on that particular unit.
Yeah.
All the while, the rest was still a playable army.
Yep.
Jamrise also said his first project is to customize an Imperial Guard trooper. I think it would be a good small project.
That's a good start.
I think that's a very ambitious start.
Yeah, they modify them armor, create a gas mask, maybe modify the las gun.
Wow.
I'd recommend that kit bashing is going to be easier than sculpting. Don't feel like you have to sculpt it all from scratch. I don't want to, because it just takes so much time. So if you can find other bits that work with it, definitely use those. Rather than feeling like you need to make everything yourself.
Yep. That makes sense, yeah. I would love to have some bits I could use for this lady.
Well, you can use Tyranid bits, you just have to use everything that's in the kit as well.
You're telling me now that I can use some of this?
Too late?
Are you shitting me?
Well, we just didn't want you to be like, oh yeah, I'll just make her from a Tyrannifex. We wanted you to fix the kit.
You know what I'm concerned more about?
What?
Is that as I have my dominatrix standing here, she's almost, at least the torso is almost the same size.
Yeah.
And I don't know. That's
So you're just gonna turn her into a dom?
These parts are very, very similar. Yeah, well, I don't know. It was just a random train of thought.
Cool.
Okay.
Guys, the honest truth is I gotta go. I'm finished. I'm tired. My last weekend was so packed full of stuff.
Of course.
I'm not too energetic right now. I've had a lot of fun. Thanks so much. I will prepare some modeling stuff for next Friday because I really need to get some of those models rolling out again. Have a good night.
Have a good night, Marco. Thanks for joining us.
Hi, Marco.
Thank you. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
So, Peter Hansen's trying to send a message through, but YouTube keeps blocking it.
And you don't see it.
Yeah, he goes, I really like the warrior conversion, and I wanted his opinion on something I sent him via chat.
Via chat? Via Discord?
Instagram?
Let me check.
Yeah. I think it's one of those that you try and put something in there and they go... YouTube just goes, nope, not letting you through.
I've got a message from him in my Discord chat. Very, very dodgy, rough markup idea. So it looks like a more upright Toxicrene. I like that he's got like his own brand now. Peter Evil Eyes Dodgy Concept Sketches. Oh, you can't see that. So it's like an standing upright Toxicrene. I like that rather than like the doggy running around on all fours idea. More bipedal posture, tentacles emerging from rib cage, no eyes on head, upper limbs, either small scything talons or squid-like club tentacles. I think that's cool, and like it also solves the problem of actually transporting the friggin' thing. Because it won't fit in any like hobby case known to man with all those tentacles poking out everywhere. So it looks like it uses in your concept the tentacles are more like flesh hooks coming out of the torso rather than coming out of the arms. I think that's cool. Maybe you should post it on Instagram, and then people can see it there. Might be a better plan.
What?
Well, it's hard for me to show you guys on my phone, and I don't...
Yeah, that's right.
I don't want to mess with, like, keyboard stuff right now. Because that gets annoying.
Never say change the setting, right?
Exactly. Once this thing works, we gotta leave it. Don't mess with the settings. Okay, I'm doing what Weirding's Way told me to do. I'm cutting out these two cute little Tyrant Guard Rending Claws and using them to mount Devourers in. And it hurts me because I'm like, oh no, these are such cute little bits. And I don't have that many Tyrant Guard. Oh no, I should save them. Fuck that.
I have, if you dearly miss them, I think I have some left somewhere.
Don't tell me that. They'll just add to the pile.
Okay, then I will keep them.
You better. So for this, okay, so oh no, what did I drop? I don't know. Must have not been important. So for this guy, he's got his gun worked into the side of his face like a bazooka, and he's got like this one hand in front that's bracing him. And then for the guy I just started working up today, he's got the same kind of design with one hand bracing him, and his gun is starting to incorporate into the side of his face. But for the next warrior, I want him to be more in like a hunched forward, kind of like quadrupedal dog-like pose, and then have the two Devourers be coming out of his back.
Oh wow.
Like over his shoulders, kind of?
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's what I'm trying for here. And I'm using a big, beefy Ravner torso instead of the little weedy warrior one.
Okay. Just to take a step back.
Yeah.
Did I get it right that you're, you want to make a whole army out of them?
No, I don't want to make a whole army out of them. I want to.
Okay.
So these guys are inspired by a game of Shadow War, which is kind of like Kill Team. So I'm basically making Kill Team operatives with different gun combinations.
Okay. But do you actually plan on using them, or is that just for...
Well, the first 3 warriors that I made them because I was actually going to play a game. And I actually did play a game with a friend of mine. So I am actually planning to use them.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I know, eh? I don't ever play, but yeah.
Oh, wow.
Hey, man, Kill Team's coming.
Ooh,
yeah, and it was cool because, like, Hydra, you're really smart, and you only make things that you can use. And me, I just make things because I like the ideas. But there's a different motivation that comes from, like, making something that you're actually going to use.
Yep.
And I feel a lot more motivated to paint stuff when I might use it. Although, at the same time, I'm working on a Carnifex, and you can't use a Carnifex in Kill Team. But I just wanted to be able to say that I assembled and painted a more or less unconverted Carnifex.
I just think that you painted them straight in, so only with contrast paint, right?
I did a lot of them with contrast paint.
Okay.
So
yeah.
I maintain that you can't paint Tyranid Carapace with contrast paint, or at least not convincingly. So here's a guy. So the green of the flesh is all I zenithal prime them with like black on the dark on the bottom and then like light on top. And then this is 2 contrast colors, Militarum green and Plague Bearer or whatever. This guy's very dark green, but on this dude, you see more of the light. So up top, he's that plague bearer, like the light green parts. And then what did I do? So the stuff, this is not painted with contrast, but the pink is like kind of roughed in with contrast, and then I cleaned it up with like some other paints. They might have been scale 75. I don't know.
Okay.
But the bases are all contrast, pretty much. Like the reds and the whites there, that's contrast. I feel like I thought I did more on them in contrast. I guess like the faces and the weapons, they're like I did a bit of contrast and then I highlighted them for the pinks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because I have recently tried to make a tutorial for a painting tutorial for a friend of mine who's you know has never has like 20 years ago painted some Lord of the Rings modeled previously,
Yeah.
but not much ever since. And I was trying to wrap my head around how to quickly paint models without I'm mixing my paints all the time and recreating different colors and all that stuff, but it's such a long time ago that I have developed a paint scheme just by using things straight from the pot.
Yeah.
And yeah, I found that contrast paints are so different in their properties and so various in their results that it's really hard to get a hang of them.
Really? I highly recommend contrast for anything organic.
Oh yeah.
If you're putting on
Yeah,
armor, forget it. Like Space Marines, I don't know how you paint them with. People have done it. I wouldn't choose to. But yeah, like cloth or like Tyranid skin.
He started with orcs, and that's what I came up with.
Yeah. Oh, and that's with contrast?
Yeah, that is. Only painted the lenses,
It looks really good.
and that's only contrast paint.
Dude, so contrast paint saved me in terms of painting. Like I always found painting overwhelming, but I feel like contrast is not a wonder material. It's just like a heavy wash. But I hadn't really worked with heavy washes before.
Yeah.
And it's just so freeing to be able to like prime something zenithal so that you have like dark parts and light parts, and then put contrast over it, which like further emphasizes the dark parts and light parts, and you're most of the way there. And then if you want, you can like highlight areas. And it's already shown you where you should highlight because of the contrast.
That's right. I also found it really entertaining to work with it.
Oh, cool.
But yeah, it's I don't know. It's different, completely different painting from what I do these days. If I paint at all, I have counted backwards, and I came to the sad realization that the last miniatures I've painted are almost 6 weeks.
Oh, dude, come on! I've been painting like a Carnifex and a warrior for like a year.
Yeah, but but as you said, since I don't have a reason to paint because I don't play anything. So the last miniatures I painted were because I played my first game of Sargrave.
Yep.
And I wanted to use them for the game, so I sat down and finished them for the use. But anyhow. So yeah. I think I'm pretty much done. I fixed this little statuette, which I want to go back at some point.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and I tried to make a cast of that, but then that went not so good.
No?
I thought I was clever and make a one part mold.
Yeah.
Yeah, I miscalculated how much air would collect in different areas. I have not tried to pour it like turning things around before filling up the resin in there.
Yeah.
But yeah, there are certain parts that are always missing. For example, one part of the scribbly hand is missing, and that's a bit sad. But Yeah, and it's pretty big, so whenever I make a cast, that's always a big amount of resin going down the drain.
Oh man. Well, can't you just sculpt in a little bit?
Yeah, of course I can, but I planned on, casting that and I don't know, maybe selling it or giving it to other people for projects.
Yeah.
But
Oh, sorry. I just noticed that we're talking about epoxy sculpt and green stuff. I just want to check with Jeremiah Price if he's still around. Are you where are you located? Did you see Flynn? Is he located in the States or is he?
It hasn't, from what I've seen, it hasn't been said
Oh, okay.
as to where it's located.
If you feel free, if you feel like sharing it, just that Abe's epoxy sculpt is a lot easier to come by in the States. But if you're not in the States, you can absolutely use Milliput, because that can also make green stuff easier to work with, to mix in. And I am getting the high sign that it's almost time for dinner, so we got to wrap this up soon.
I was going to say, I found Abe's epoxy sculpt now on Amazon being sold in the UK.
Yes,
And
and I
it
gave you
is-
shit for buying it off. Oh no, I didn't give you shit for buying it off Amazon. I gave someone else shit for buying it off Amazon.
Yeah.
If you can get it from a local stockist, because
no chance.
It's
But
it's very
at
hard.
what price? What's
Well,
the price?
I know that in the UK there's a guy in Wales that stocks it. I bought it from him.
Oh, it was one I did. Was it JHT or something like that? I bought from. Like they're a taxidermist company. But
Yes, yeah, in Wales.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's who I bought mine from when I was living in the UK. He had the weirdest accent. He sounded like he was Jamaican. Had to call him on the phone.
That's yeah. The Welsh has got a. It depends on what part of Wales they're from. That it really affects their accent.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I'm having this idea back and forth, and I'm not anywhere on a good, on a good spot with it. But I just wanted to hear you guys' thought about it.
Yeah.
So I have this rather unfinished statuette
Yeah.
here, and I have this mold, and I'm thinking about what to do with that. And I was wondering if you guys would think it's a good or a bad idea. I'm open-minded. I had the idea of making sort of a charity thing where I would send people this unfinished statuette, and but I'm not sure how to turn this into a charity thing right now, because I figured that someone would sculpt. I would send them one of these a cast
Yeah.
of these things,
Yeah.
and they would sculpt, well, finish it, and then what?
And then you can either sell them or raffle them off.
Or
Exactly, yeah.
you could do something where to take part, they have to purchase a sculpt of it, and that purchase goes to the charity.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But I figured that would limit the people who would work for the charity, right? Or the money that would go into the charity, because people would be like, why would I buy that? I'm not so keen on sculpting, whatever.
Well, yeah. You could do like plants to people who are like sculptors and who like you correspond with online or whose work you admire or something. But you're right that is an initial barrier to entry. Like if you go to someone whose work you admire and you're like, hey, can you sculpt this thing for this charity thing? And they're like, oh yeah, okay. And then you're like, wait, you got to pay for it. And I'm like, what?
Well, I think maybe it's the most. I don't know.
Maybe if it was like loads of people wanting to take part, just so it was that they would guaranteed some money going to the charity. But if it's like a select few, then yeah.
Yeah, at that point, then I'm like, you got to raffle them off or something, or have like a contest, or because you don't want to like. I'm always worried about popularity contests. Like if you have it like, oh yeah, buy these sculpts, and like what if like one person sculpts like all that one sells and then another one doesn't, like
Yeah.
So I was thinking more like raffle, like you win a random sculpt. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. That's. Yeah.
I don't know if that's a better
Yeah.
idea, but
Yeah. Okay. If anyone out there seeing this has a good idea how to turn this into into a working charity thing, please reach out to me.
yeah,
Because
contact Hydra on Instagram. He's number 4 YDRA to get at his Instagram profile. And you should definitely follow him because he is a really good sculptor and he's got all kinds of cool tips and cool models. But yeah, I'll give it some more thought, but that's good to like put it out to the hive mind and see if anyone can come up with a good idea of how to turn it into a charity thing.
because I basically would love to see another charity thing going on, and
Man, you're really moved by the Slug Wizard, eh?
yes, I am. I thought that was very inspirational.
Good.
And it made me feel like that there's something missing, as I said many times before, from my time when I was all into Infinity. That they did that on such a regular basis
Yeah.
that it almost felt natural for everyone to do it.
Yeah.
And I think that would be cool because you know, there, for example, the 28 miniature, the 28 magazine is addressing certain topics and whatever, but
Yeah.
that's all still a lot of talk and not very much action. And
Yeah.
I would like to, you know, in a way that I can, quotation marks, afford, get involved in, you know, making this somehow a better place. Even
Sparking some action.
Yeah, yeah. Even with small bricks,
Yeah.
a wall can be built.
Yeah. It's a really good idea. I'd love to sculpt on that thing.
The other idea I had was to have a contest for our little creature conference to
Wait, we
to,
haven't finished the first contest.
what? No,
Redesigning the models.
No, not for us, but
Oh,
for
okay.
everyone who wants to. You know, it's more of a fun thing because
yeah.
we are always talking about the 5th member.
Yeah.
And you know, having sort of a 5th member competition, like build it, scratch it, whatever you want, whatever you want to build the 5th member of our stupid little chat here.
Could it be like an audio file? Because some people work in audio, or draw the 5th member.
No, yeah, I would say something visual, either drawn or
Fan animation,
you know,
since Games Workshop's not allowing it anymore.
yeah. I was actually thinking about making a model of it, or a painting.
Yeah. I like it.
Yeah, that'd be funny.
Maybe we should propose it at the beginning of the next stream. Maybe more people will be on.
Yeah.
What would you want to have so people would be able to find it though?
What do you mean?
So it would be like hashtag creature conference 5th member or something like that. But something,
That's cool.
I don't
but
know.
obviously what I don't want it's saying so long where it's be hard to get.
Well, if it's so long, then no
member?
one's gonna. What?
Like CC 5th member.
Oh, there you go. You just got to make sure that that's not like a weird porn thing.
I'm just gonna double check it first quickly.
It's always a weird porn thing. If you can think of a hashtag, it's a weird porn thing on the internet.
No, Tom Wilson. I exactly mean the 5th member. Like, because right now he's invisible, and he sometimes is there and sometimes he's not.
Our joke is that the 5th member of the whatever the hell this is, the stream, is technical difficulties, but maybe it could be someone else, something else. Maybe it could be creative interpretation.
Yeah. Yeah, that was another idea I had, but that probably sparks from just wanting to host a competition
That one's not a
Alright.
charity competition.
or something. Yeah.
So there is a hashtag already for CC 5th member with the number 5 and then TH, but if we were to do it as 5th as in the word, it would be fine. No one's got any. That's a completely free hashtag. I'll probably,
Awesome. So the first ideas are coming in. Symbio Joe says a barrel full of monkeys.
Don't give away all your ideas, Symbio Joe. You're not gonna win if someone else steals it from you.
But Brad Evans says I'm picturing the 5th member as a chaos obliterator or something. That's exactly where my brain is going. Yeah. I don't know if you remember this 3rd edition Chaos Obliterators. They
Yeah.
showed the White Dwarf where they just, had those tubes, plastic car tubes sticking from something. That
Yeah.
was amazing. So everyone seeing this has a little head start. I'm going to make this.
Okay.
You just have to run along, Nick, and
I'm happy to run along.
We'll have to come up with something funny, but I think this could be fun. It
Good.
could be dumb, but it could be fun.
Oh, it's definitely gonna be dumb, but it's also definitely gonna be fun. That's how I like to operate.
There you go.
just remember, technical difficulties include headphones breaking, audio problems, visual problems. What else have we had?
We had visual problems?
Remember we were trying to do the... we were trying to do the June Stealer Roundup, and we wouldn't work. It just kept freezing.
Yeah, that's just old computer problems, I think.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right.
Which count as technical difficulties, right?
Yep.
Yep.
I like it.
Well, thanks for coming up with that, Hydra.
You're welcome.
Yeah, and everyone give some thought to Hydra's other thing about the sculpting. That's the one I'm really excited. I mean, I'm excited about the 5th member, but I'm definitely excited about the bust thing.
The more we're saying 5th member, it sounds like we're a boy band and we're getting someone new in.
Well, that's better than what I'm thinking of. For some reason, I keep thinking of like member, like a euphemistic term for a penis. But why you would have a 4th member, let alone a 5th member, I do not know.
Why would you have a 3rd member?
Yes. Why would you even have a 2nd?
I could see a use for that, but
Of course you could, you Slaneshi weirdo. Yeah, okay, so we're going to have the 5th member competition. We're going to figure out a way to charitize Hydra's idea or Hydra's sculpt. So everyone give some thought to that. That's your homework, along with reading Hive War, because I know none of you have read it yet, including me. So everyone read Hive War.
Wait. Before we close this off,
Yeah.
here's some final visualization. So on the 10th of August, the podcast beim Imperator.
This is the one you were on?
Yeah, nichts
The one where they don't talk about things?
Neues. Oh, we talk about lots of things. Yeah, I don't want to leave this with a weird impression. So
Sorry.
this show is run by 3 extremely funny dudes.
Yeah.
And they were. We had a 4th member there as well. So we tried to get the audio running in advance, but then time was running out, and we simply started. And at a point, I realized they were in the same room, but each of them was using a headset, and I was hearing just one microphone.
Oh,
and
shit.
The other two I did not hear, but
Yeah.
we managed to get through the whole thing, and it was great fun. It was amazing. At some point, someone was singing an opera in their backyard.
Like one of the members of the podcast, or someone entirely different,
No,
not
no,
involved?
someone else. They live in Hamburg, so yeah, some very street cafe feeling came up,
Yeah,
and yeah, we talked about Tyranids from back and forth. What they do is they do a lore podcast,
yeah,
um, and they started like 10 episodes ago at the very beginning, and I learned quite a bit about even pre-heresy things and Thunder Warriors and stuff like that.
yeah.
But they are not dead serious. They are, sometimes I feel like some it could be more, just a tiny tad more information and a little less,
Bullshit.
jokes,
Yeah.
bullshit, fun. But it was such a blast. Those almost 3 hours. I don't know how long the show will be in the end, but we talked for 3 hours and it was amazing. Although I just, heard just 2.5 of them. But they're so funny.
But it's all in German, so it's for our German
all in
viewers.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
That's fine.
But that's the catch.
Hey, I'm learning German very slowly from Dark.
But what do you do after season 3?
Oh, we're about to watch the last episode. I don't know. Wait for
Start again.
1899 to come out, but I think they're doing that one in English. Oh no, there's going to be German in it too. I think there's going to be all kinds of languages in it. It's their new series.
So but that doesn't have to do anything with Dark, right?
No. Middle-aged Jonas is in it, but that's it.
Okay. Oh, how was the Green Knight, by the way?
Oh shit! I really have to go. It was good but slow.
Okay.
The
good, but-
preview shows you most of the action from the whole movie, and there's some kind of like contemplative, slower bits in between. I still enjoyed it. It's beautiful. It's utterly gorgeous.
Okay.
But it's not as action-packed as the preview makes it out to be. So be ready for that going into it, but I think it's still pretty good. And like I think that probably having read the story of Gawain and the Green Knight, I have not. So that might add to it, because some people said it was like a pretty faithful representation of it. But I still found it interesting, even though I'd never read the story.
Okay.
Yeah. I'd say it's worth watching, because like I have a lot of patience for things as long as they're beautiful, and it was certainly beautiful.
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. Good. Well, then you shouldn't stress your non-queen too much, right?
Yes, I should probably go. So thank you so much. Thank you for everyone who joined the stream. We were really worried that no one was going to show up today. Jeremiah, thank you for being here the whole time. You are definitely the MVP of this stream. And Flynn and Hydra, thanks for participating. And I'm sorry Marco had to go, but thank you, Marco, as well, for being a part of this. And yeah, look, we actually worked on... we almost all worked on Tyranids.
Yeah.
Yay! And I started a new project. Yay! Take a drink.
My beer is empty. I should go to bed now.
My beer is almost empty. All right, I can see Brett Evans. I can see Symbio Joe, Jeremiah, Peter Hampson. Thanks, friends.
Thank you. And have a good night.
Good night, my friends. Good night. Oh, I got to do the bye thing. Bye.
Bye.
Okay, now I got to wait for the YouTube to catch up. There we go. Hydra starts waving. There we go.
Yeah.
It's ended.